This is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast, presented by Pain, Parents and Addicts in Need.
Welcome to Pain's Don't Hide the Scars podcast. I'm Jason LaChance, here with the founder of Parents and Addicts in Need, Mr. Flindt Andersen. How are you, good sir?
I'm good, Jason. How are you doing this wonderful Friday?
I do well. All right, we're digging into a story that you had sent over to me. Deadly new opioids spreading across the Mid-South. A new class of synthetic opioids up to 20 times stronger than fentanyl and hundreds of times more potent than morphine is beginning to surface in Tennessee and Mississippi, according to medical experts. So where do you want to dive in with this one, good sir?
Well, let's start with this, okay?
I know it's coming.
Let's start with this. So, again, I knew we're doing some things with the organization, right? And we know that what we talk about is a pretty serious topic. I'm sorry, but it's not rainbows and butterflies. And I know some of the people that we're talking with, they want to be able to get us to, be a little lighter in this type of thing, which is a good thing, right? But on the other hand, what we're always talking about is so desperately dark, that I'm sitting there going, okay, how do I smile when I sit there and say, here's this article that comes out and says, Nitazene is a new drug that is now surfacing in the United States of America, in Kentucky and Tennessee and and on, when we know for a fact that this drug has been around for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm almost finding it laughable. That now news outlets, by the way, these are not major news outlets. These are the ones you get on your iPhone. These are ones, everybody's got some sort of news outlet these days, whether it's some guy on TikTok or whether it's some, paper, whatever news article. But so to be lighter, it has been here for the last 5 years instead of, the damn thing's been here for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously?
Yeah.
We've seen it in people in San Francisco. It's that combination of nitazene and fentanyl, nitazene and other drugs. It makes the fentanyl stronger. It increases everything. So here we have this article, which again, I'm going to repeat, it's not coming from a major news source. So I don't think a lot of people are seeing it. But when you see people that are slumped over, sitting on the curb, falling down, head slumped, this is what you're seeing. You're seeing the nitazene mixed with the fentanyl to create this issue. Yeah. And I think one more thing, I think maybe one reason why this is not out in the public as much or in the news media is because there's definitely no cure for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we've talked about it, like you said, for quite some time. And it gives the opioid legs, right? It gives a longer lasting high. To reiterate what we've mentioned before, fentanyl, it's pretty quick acting. I know I had a minor procedure. They put me under. They said they're on the thing. I talked with you, even though, but alcohol was my thing, but still a nervousness around, wow, they're using fentanyl for this, Flindt. And you're like, you're under doctor supervision. It's such a minor amount. You're going to be fine. You're not going to become addicted. I hated it, that feeling, by the way. Worst damn feeling on the planet. So some relief there. But it gives, and we've talked to people that have been fentanyl addicts, it gives it that leg. Those legs to it. Fentanyl usually, correct me if I'm wrong here, please. Usually about maybe a 90-minute quote unquote high, depending on, of course, where they're at in their addiction with it.
Yeah, probably a little bit longer. Normally it takes, if you're using straight up fentanyl, you normally have to dose yourself a couple, 90 minutes to 2 hours. Okay. But with the nitazene in it, now you're at least getting to that 4-hour mark, sometimes longer. But it's still coming pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, and the article does point out the important part. In and of itself, nitazenes have no legitimate medical use in the United States. This is something that is simply being utilized on the black market, like you said, to is enhance the right word? The opioid addict primarily. Unless I'm wrong, we're not seeing this in anything other than fentanyl. Am I correct in that?
Well, again, I believe that, nitazene, is a benzodiazepine. Okay. But look, I also believe that nitazene is used for other things. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it is a legitimate drug that's out there. Nitazene, it wasn't invented. It wasn't invented by some 17-year-old in a lab in his basement with 9 cats and his mother living above, right? This was actually developed, in a pharmaceutical lab somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's got a purpose. Again, it's supposedly part of the benzodiazepine family, but it's a drug that is just going to harm you.
Yeah.
Okay. It like you said, when you get that combination of drugs, we don't know how the body is going to react to both of those kinds of drugs. So, but if it's also going to extend the life out of that fentanyl, of course, the fentanyl user is going to go, I'm in, I'll take it. But the other side of that coin is sometimes I don't think the end user actually knows he's getting nitazene with fentanyl.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
Well, we saw it before. I mean, that's the thing that people need to remember is that these, at least the initial producer of these drugs, not necessarily the street dealer per se, they're pretty swift on understanding how they can get an individual hooked and addicted pretty quickly. So it just adds to that factor in this situation. And it's alarming. It's alarming for sure, because like fentanyl, it definitely causes the respiratory depression. And I don't really know how naloxone / Narcan's effect on that is per se. We know how it can help fentanyl, but around this, I'm not aware. I just haven't read around that research.
Well, again, this is what I believe with Narcan and fentanyl. Narcan with fentanyl and anything mixed into it. For a regular fentanyl user, normally it's what you don't hear is that, again, I hate to keep using that word again and again, but you have to get to the person in time.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that is most critical here when somebody's talking about Narcan. If you have seconds and minutes, you don't have minutes and hours to get to somebody. You've got seconds and minutes. And so with a large amount of fentanyl being used, what you don't hear is that it normally takes 6, 8, 10, 12 different doses to get that Narcan to work, if it's going to work at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's with fentanyl and anything that's stronger than.
Yeah.
Right. If it's a normal Vicodin, Lortab, Percocet, even a fake fentanyl, sometimes that 1 dose, 2 dose, 3 dose is probably going to get somebody snapped out of it if you get to them in time. But the other question we must ask ourselves is, when Narcan is being handed out to the general public, and I'm talking general public, at events, at fairs, at school presentations, at college campuses, you get my drift of where I'm going with this. They're getting 1 box each.
2 doses in a box.
2 doses, right? There's 2 doses in each box. So that's what they're getting. The general public is not getting 3, 4, 6, 10 boxes. Now, some places may hand out 3 or 4. It depends on where you're at and who you're giving the Narcan to. But it also depends on how much you have as a supplier and a distributor of Narcan.
Yeah.
You always have to keep watch or control over your inventory to make sure you've got enough to go around, even though the state of California is extremely good at making sure that all of us have what we need. But again, for the most part, the general public is getting that 1 box.
Yeah.
Right. And so that the general public, again, are they keeping it where they're supposed to? Are they keeping it in a cabinet or a medicine cabinet, or even a cabinet at home that's close to them? Are they keeping it in their car during the summer months when we specifically tell them, do not do that? Women, keep it in your purse. Men, if you keep it in your car, just make sure you take it out when you leave the car. That's a pain in the butt, though. People are going to forget that, because it's not an everyday issue for somebody to think about moving their Narcan.
Yeah.
It's just not. So there are other variables involved in all of this. Again, we distribute Narcan. We are great believers in Narcan and what it does. And of course, there's other reasons and other areas that we go into when we're discussing Narcan. But getting back to the original question here, it's going to take more for a fentanyl user.
Mm-hmm.
But where's that news?
Yep.
Yeah. Nowhere to be.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be.
Yeah, we often don't speak about that, or at least we speak about it. Let me rephrase myself. But when media reports on this, and oftentimes, and I know it's people doing their best, but they're not to the level of knowledge of me, and definitely not you in and around this, doing this every day. And when they report this, it is quite often very much left out. That just like anything, I know for me, I didn't start out drinking to the excess that I was. By the end, it's what it took to feel anything at all. I know for you, it was very similar with the substance you were using. And right. So that very much gets left out of the equation, that understanding of how once it goes from the dependent stage into the full-blown addiction stage, how much that ramps up.
Ramps up tremendously. Tremendously. So, because most of the people that ramp up their addiction, they're always in danger of an overdose.
Mm-hmm.
Always in danger of an overdose. They don't even necessarily need, a fake pill laced with fentanyl to have an overdose. We seem to forget that portion of it as well. We seem to, it seems like everything's, and it has to, it seems like everything's going towards fentanyl. But there are other opiate medications out there that cause overdose.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when I was taking 70 a day, but you don't think I was at risk for overdose?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, of course. We don't know where the body exactly was at that point. What if I took 60 and all of a sudden 10 more, the body said, no, I'm done with you. Yeah. Or what if I went over that, which I did on many occasions. Yeah. Then all of a sudden you're gone. So and people have to remember, please remember this. This is not a self-administered narcotic. Narcan is not.
Yeah.
an addict can't keep it tight around your neck, and all of a sudden you start to go on overdose and dose yourself. It can't be done.
Yeah.
So somebody has to have it that sees you, whether they're sitting with you, whether they're walking by, whether they're driving by. Somebody's got to see you, and somebody has to have it.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to take any effect whatsoever.
Yeah. If people haven't seen the fentanyl user, and then subsequently the other things being put in it, obviously, and the trank and so on and so forth. Yeah, you go into a comatose-like state. You're not completely out, but you're out. You're not cognizant. You're not in a place where, you would be able to administer Narcan to yourself. So this isn't that kind of thing.
You can't move your fingers. You have no cognitive thinking. You have nothing. You talk about, you're literally a bag of Jello. You can't function. And that comes on quickly, like at a drop of a hat. And all of a sudden you're down, and you can't lift your arm. You don't even know you're lifting your arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're pretty much done at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they use it in medical procedures where they don't want you fully under, but they want you in a state, and then they bring you back out of that state, so to speak. So it's important for people to understand. Anything else we want to drop in around this? I mean, we always speak to the fact of where these chemicals are coming from, that they're, in the grand scheme of, they're not produced here. And it goes through a supply chain that enters, from foreign entities into our country. And I don't know how much that brings a greater awareness around this per se, but I think it's important to understand that it is a strategic poisoning that is going on here.
Sure. So along that note, I'm glad you brought that up. I am also a firm believer that now, and we've had this for several years, if not longer, according to DEA, we have cartel members in every state of the union.
Yeah.
Now, with things clamping down on the borders as best that they can, if I'm running the cartels, what is the first thing I've been doing the last few years, or doing in particular now? That is making sure there are labs set up right here in the United States to make this stuff. We already have meth labs here. Let's face facts. We do. Everybody will tell you. Politicians will tell you. DEA will tell you. Local law enforcement will tell you, whether it's in Oklahoma, whether it's in the plains of Nebraska, we've got meth labs everywhere. So how, as a reasonable person, do you not think that we don't have fentanyl labs and opiate labs here? Yeah. Illegal ones. Of course we do. Of course we do. And it's just going to get bigger. So I do believe, as we continue to focus on China and Mexico, and I do believe that our current administration is doing something. I just think there's so much that they have to do, and they're doing it under the table and around the corner. I really do, because this I'm just guessing, it has to be as covert as possible.
Yeah.
In order to tackle this issue. What I'm hoping for is that they're not forgetting what is now based in the U.S.
Agreed.
Because you don't want to see one thing at least be cut in half or tumble, and then all of a sudden now we've got part two of this thing, which is just based here in the United States, or maybe even in Canada. The Canadians, they don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay, so sorry, Canada, but that's the way I feel. There's so many places in Canada to bring it across the border.
Yeah. And
there are drugs from Canada, not from Canada, but from other areas that go through Canada into the United States.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to at some point wake up and pick up the paper and go, wow, we just busted, 4 or 5 labs in Nebraska that were making fentanyl.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go anymore I told you so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think what I want to follow that up with is why parents and addicts in need is I'll use big words, a beacon of hope, because there is a bright side to this. You and I are examples. So many people, the thousands of families, over 10,000 that have been through the doors of pain and gotten that help, that there is hope and you can change the trajectory of your life. But there has to be an initiative taken with that. And just know that there are people like Flindt out there that are here to help you. You just have to let us know, though. You have to have a sense of agency around this. We're not going to be able to spot it out.
Yeah, there is hope. I don't think enough light is shed on those of us that have actually have continued sobriety, have dealt with this issue, because there's so many, and I know I keep saying that, but there's so many different aspects to all of this, and even in one's recovery, just because of the particular drug that we were and are addicted to, the age factor, the surgical factor, the medical problems, right? But it's all manageable and it's all hopeful and it can be done. Yeah. It really is. I mean, can it be hard? Yeah, but what isn't anymore?
Yeah.
What isn't anymore? But it doesn't even have to be hard.
Yeah.
It's getting through that initial stage that we all know, getting through that first 3, 4, 5 years. And then things they even get better in the 3, 4, 5 years, but they really get better after that.
Yeah, they get better. They get better in the first 90 days.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say things are going to come back at you, but okay, it does with everything and everybody.
Yeah.
So the hope is definitely there, and we see it. We see it. Right. Look, out of 10,000 people, we're not 0 for 10,000.
Far from it.
Far from it.
Yeah, we those of us who embrace the process through recovery, we begin to embody something, and we become something we probably never would have imagined. Is it easy? No, but guess what? Me going out and still doing the same things I was doing, and the hiding, the lying, the looking for the next opportunity to grab a drink and something like that was truly miserable and hard.
Miserable.
I will take the thousands of possible problems that might come my way over the one.
All day.
All day, every day, right?
Every day. Or every day.
Every day. I love you. Mr. Andersen, if people want to get a hold of Pain, other than the website, painnonprofit.org, what's the best way?
You can always give us a call at 559-978-9239. I would still think that the best way is through email, which is Flindt, FLINDT, at painnonprofit.org, or info@painnonprofit.org. Telephones sometimes get overlooked and calls don't get picked up, but emails and websites, and once we know that we see that, we'll be right back with you on that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we thank you for listening to Pains Don't Hide the Scars, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever platform you're on. If it's your first time, hit that subscribe or follow button, leave a rating and a review, and don't forget, if you're listening, you can also watch. Go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@painnonprofit. Hit that subscribe button, thumb up on the video, and please share it with someone else that needs to hear this message.